Men and women speak of love as though it were poetry, yet behind every whispered promise lies a darker truth. Tonight, we unmask what no one dares admit, the ruthless machinery of sexual attraction. For centuries, rulers, courtesans, and seducers have known this secret. That desire is not merely a feeling, but a weapon. The problem is this: most people are slaves to attraction, unaware of the invisible strings pulling their hearts. But what if you could see those strings and pull them yourself? Attraction is power, not romance. Listen carefully, for what I am about to tell you shatters the illusions you have been raised to believe. Since childhood, you were taught that attraction is born from love, that two souls are drawn together by some divine spark of destiny. But such fantasies are crafted for the naive. The truth, the darkest truth, is this: attraction is not about romance at all. It is about power. It is about who bends and who resists, who dominates and who submits. To speak of attraction without speaking of power is to speak of fire without acknowledging the burn. Observe the world with sober eyes. When a man enters a room and every gaze turns toward him, when a woman's mere presence silences conversation, is this the hand of Cupid's arrow? Or is it the demonstration of influence? Desire flows not toward the virtuous, nor toward the noble, but toward the powerful, or at least toward those who wear the mask of power convincingly. People are drawn not by love, but by signals of strength, confidence, and command. They call it chemistry, yet it is more akin to conquest. Romance is the language society uses to soften the brutality of this truth. Lovers say they are equals, that they share, that they give. But beneath this delicate veil lies a constant negotiation of control. One seduces, the other submits. One pursues, the other decides. Even in the tenderest of unions, there is hierarchy. Attraction arranges it, silently, ruthlessly, without asking permission. Why do some men and women seem irresistible, while others toil endlessly for scraps of attention? It is not kindness that draws the eyes of others, nor is it innocence, generosity, or purity. Attraction rewards dominance, status, charisma, beauty, the unshakable posture that whispers, "I need nothing, but everything will come to me." This is why kings were desired, why conquerors found no shortage of lovers, why the courtesans of Florence could enthrall nobles, while poets starved in obscurity. Attraction bends to the powerful, because attraction itself is a mechanism of power. You see, desire is not democratic. It does not distribute itself evenly among men and women. It clusters around symbols of authority. This is why wealth, influence, and reputation are magnets for desire. A man of no resources may carry genuine affection, but he will often find his love unreturned, because affection alone has little weight in the balance of attraction. Likewise, a woman who holds no command over her image, who projects no mystery, no allure, no sense of worth, will discover that her devotion is invisible in a world that prizes spectacle over sincerity. This truth is not kind, but it is relentless. Attraction punishes the powerless. It leaves them yearning, chasing, hoping, while the powerful remain sought after, even in their indifference. Look closely, and you will see this imbalance in every society, every court, every household. It is the great unspoken law: the one who holds power does not chase, they attract. And the one who attracts dictates the terms of the union. Consider also the games people play to simulate this power. A man lowers his voice to command presence. A woman withholds her affection to appear scarce. Both are strategies to project dominance, to create the illusion of superiority. They know instinctively that attraction is not sparked by generosity, but by scarcity, by the suggestion that their attention is precious and not easily won. What is this but the manipulation of power itself? Even the smallest gestures reveal this dance of control. Who texts first and who delays their reply? Who approaches and who waits to be approached? Who speaks with certainty and who stammers for approval? These are not meaningless moments. They are signals of dominance and submission, of strength and weakness. Every interaction is a contest, whether those involved recognize it or not. And in this contest, attraction does not choose the kindest heart. It chooses the strongest presence. The poets will tell you that love is blind, but Machiavelli knew better. Love may be blind, but attraction sees with the eyes of a hawk. It notices posture, tone, confidence. The way a man enters a room, as if he owns it, the way a woman holds her silence, as if it were a weapon. Attraction notices who holds themselves like a sovereign and who begs like a servant. And attraction rewards accordingly. There is a cruel irony in this. Those who chase romance directly, who believe in selfless devotion, often find themselves ignored, discarded, forgotten. Their sincerity is seen as weakness. Meanwhile, those who master detachment, who cloak themselves in mystery and authority, become the objects of endless pursuit. The world pretends to value kindness, but in the secret language of desire, it worships power. This is why rulers, generals, artists, and even criminals throughout history have been surrounded by lovers despite their flaws. Their power, their aura of command, their ability to shape the world around them, made them irresistible. For attraction is not a moral force. It does not ask whether one is virtuous or cruel. It only asks who commands, who obeys, who leads, who follows. Attraction is not a tender melody played on the strings of the heart. It is a drumbeat of dominance and submission, an ancient rhythm older than civilization. To mistake it for romance is to walk blindly into a battlefield armed with flowers instead of swords. Those who do not see the power in attraction are destined to serve it. Those who do may wield it like a weapon. If attraction is power, then desire is its cruel executioner. And like all instruments of power, it is never shared fairly among men and women. Desire is unequal by its very nature. It favors some and abandons others, not by virtue of justice or morality, but by the cold arithmetic of nature. There are those whom the world cannot stop pursuing, and there are those whom the world will never notice. Between these two extremes lies the brutal truth: desire is a hierarchy, and only a few sit at its peak. Walk through any court, any city, any gathering of souls, and you will see this hierarchy at work. Some are born with faces sculpted in symmetry, bodies that command attention, voices that fill the air with authority. Others are born plain, overlooked, their gestures invisible, their voices drowned beneath the noise. Do not mistake this for fairness. Do not comfort yourself with illusions that every heart is equally capable of captivating. The cruel fact is that nature distributes allure unequally, as a king distributes favor among his court, generously to a few, sparingly to the many. But nature's favoritism extends beyond beauty. It rewards those who display strength, wealth, and status. The warrior returning victorious from battle is desired not for the purity of his soul, but for the power he represents. The merchant cloaked in riches is not pursued for his virtue, but for the abundance he can bestow. The noblewoman draped in silk is not admired for her kindness, but for the aura of scarcity and privilege she radiates. Desire clings to symbols of superiority and abandons those who possess nothing but sincerity. This inequality creates tension, envy, and endless schemes. The one who is desired without effort lives in a world of abundance. Their attention sought after, their presence longed for. The one who struggles to attract must employ strategies, deception, manipulation, illusions, to compensate for what nature denied. Here begins the hidden war of desire. The advantaged exploit their position, while the disadvantaged sharpen their cunning to survive. Observe the lovers who are endlessly pursued. They become careless with affection, for they know they can always replace what is lost. Their value in the marketplace of desire is high, and thus they are rarely desperate. Meanwhile, the unnoticed soul clings desperately to any chance of affection, for opportunities are scarce. This imbalance breeds misery in some and arrogance in others. One bathes in abundance, the other starves in scarcity, and yet both are bound by the same cruel law: desire is not equal. This inequality explains why so many myths of love are riddled with betrayal and jealousy. Why do men kill for the affection of a single woman? Why do women conspire in secrecy to outshine their rivals? It is because they understand, consciously or not, that desire is a limited resource. Not everyone will be chosen, not everyone will be adored, and those who cannot command attraction must seize it through any means necessary. This is the silent war that has raged in every era of history, the competition for desire itself. Do not assume, however, that this inequality is static. The scales can be shifted, but rarely through virtue alone. Power, wealth, confidence, reputation, all these can elevate the overlooked into the realm of the desired. History offers countless examples. Consider the obscure soldier who rose through cunning and conquest to become a general, suddenly surrounded by admirers who once ignored him. Consider the woman of plain appearance who, through wit and intrigue, enthralled powerful men and secured her place in history. Desire may begin with inequality, but strategy can tilt the scales. Yet, for most, the imbalance is permanent. The beautiful need only exist to be pursued. The wealthy need only display their abundance to be courted. The charismatic need only speak to command longing. Meanwhile, the ordinary struggle in futility, convinced that sincerity or devotion will compensate for what they lack. They mistake loyalty for magnetism, not realizing that devotion without power rarely sparks desire. This is why countless good men are left unseen, and countless good women are left unloved. Their goodness, though admirable, is not enough to pierce the hierarchy of attraction. Consider the cruelty of this truth. Desire does not reward fairness, it rewards scarcity. What is common is ignored, what is rare is worshipped. The more people desire you, the more desirable you become. The less attention you receive, the more invisible you become. This is the paradox of attraction, a cycle that elevates the favored and buries the forgotten. The inequality grows like a fire. Once it begins, it spreads, consuming those caught beneath its weight. This imbalance also explains why manipulation thrives. The disadvantaged, desperate for desire, learn to craft illusions, false signals of wealth, borrowed confidence, feigned indifference. They must construct an image powerful enough to attract what nature denied them. Meanwhile, the naturally desired wield their beauty or status like a weapon, often without needing to sharpen it. Thus, desire is not only unequal, it is self-perpetuating. Those who begin with advantage are given more, and those who begin with nothing must fight endlessly for scraps. And yet, this truth is rarely spoken aloud. Societies drape it in poetry, in ideals of equality, in the language of romance. They pretend every soul is equally lovable, that everyone has their perfect match waiting in destiny's script. But strip away these illusions, and the brutal mechanics remaining, some will be endlessly desired, others endlessly ignored, and no god or poet will change this hierarchy. Only those who understand its cruelty may learn to maneuver within it. If desire is unequal, Then, those who are denied must find another way to survive within its hierarchy. This is where the true nature of attraction reveals itself. What most call passion is rarely pure. It is a mask carefully constructed to conceal strategies of manipulation. When men and women speak of romance, of sparks and soulmates, they are in truth describing illusions designed to captivate the senses, illusions that cloak cunning intentions. Passion is the velvet glove, but beneath it rests the iron fist of manipulation. Think carefully about what is called falling in love at first sight. Does this not sound like enchantment, a spell cast upon the mind? But no sorcery is required. What appears magical is simply the result of signals designed to trigger desire, the confident posture, the controlled silence, the mysterious gaze that invites curiosity. These are not accidents, they are tactics. The one who understands how to control appearances can create the illusion of passion while secretly maneuvering for power. This is why the most successful seducers in history were not always the most beautiful, but the most strategic. They mastered the art of disguise. They knew how to speak words that pierced the heart, while concealing their true objectives. They offered glimpses of affection, but withheld enough to provoke longing. They performed the role of the devoted lover, yet behind the mask they calculated each step, like a general in battle. What others mistook for passion was in fact a campaign of control. Consider how manipulation manifests in the smallest gestures. A smile can be a weapon, designed to disarm suspicion. A touch on the arm can be a hook, a signal of intimacy that creates false closeness. A pause in conversation, perfectly timed, can ignite anticipation and desire. None of these gestures are random. They are strategic moves in the theater of seduction. The victim believes they are swept up in passion, but in reality, they are being guided, step by step, into surrender. This mask of passion becomes most dangerous when combined with scarcity. A lover who gives constantly, who floods another with attention, is soon taken for granted. But the lover who withholds, who creates uncertainty, who disappears and returns at will, becomes irresistible. Why? Because scarcity amplifies desire. The absence of affection makes the presence of affection feel more valuable. And so the manipulator engineers absence and distance to intensify longing. What is this, if not the weaponization of passion itself? The illusion is so powerful that even the most rational minds succumb to it. The scholar who believes himself immune to vanity may find himself enslaved by a courtesan's feigned adoration. The noblewoman who prides herself on intelligence may find her defenses shattered by a suitor's rehearsed charm. The strength of the illusion lies not in its truth, but in its performance. People wish to believe in passion, so they accept the mask without question. And yet, those who understand this truth can wield it for themselves. If passion is but a mask, then one can choose the mask they present. To appear confident, one must act as though confidence is their natural state, even if they are trembling beneath the surface. To appear mysterious, one must speak little, allowing silence to create a vacuum of curiosity. To appear powerful, one must never reveal desperation, but instead cultivate the aura that they are the prize to be won. These are not accidents of character, they are strategies that transform the powerless into the desired. Even in long unions, the game does not disappear. The mask of passion is maintained through small manipulations. Jealousy sparked intentionally to remind a partner of one's value. Sudden bursts of affection to reignite desire. Moments of coldness to provoke pursuit. Lovers may claim eternal devotion, but in reality, they are engaged in constant negotiation, each side balancing affection with control. The mask never falls completely, because to remove it would expose the raw, unromantic truth that attraction thrives not on fairness, but on calculated imbalance. It is important to understand that manipulation does not always carry malice. Sometimes it is instinctive, woven into the very fabric of human behavior. A woman paints her face, not simply out of vanity, but to magnify allure. A man boasts of victories not purely out of arrogance, but to signal worthiness. These acts are manipulations, yes, but they are also survival tactics in the brutal marketplace of desire. Without them, many would remain invisible, their affections lost in the abyss of indifference. But there are those who wield manipulation with ruthless precision, turning the mask of passion into a full theater of control. They become masters of timing, knowing exactly when to retreat and when to advance. They perfect the art of silence, of feigned indifference, of selective generosity. Their victims, blinded by the performance, believe they are experiencing true passion, when in fact they are caught in a web. The manipulator becomes the puppeteer, and desire becomes the strings. Think of how many lives have been unraveled not by genuine passion, but by the illusion of it. Kingdoms have been toppled, treasuries emptied, reputations destroyed, not because love was real, but because manipulation disguised as passion captured the mind of the powerful. History remembers these tales not as accidents, but as strategies executed with precision. Cleopatra did not conquer with beauty alone. She conquered with calculated displays of passion. Casanova did not thrive on love, but on performance. In every age, the true masters of attraction wore the mask of passion while concealing their designs. And so, when people say they are in love, when they claim to be swept away by passion, ask yourself this: are they truly consumed by uncontrollable desire, or are they ensnared in an illusion crafted by another's hand? Passion is rarely pure. It is a performance, a mask worn to manipulate the mind into surrender. Those who do not see this truth will forever be the audience, captivated by the performance. Those who do may one day step onto the stage themselves, not as victims of passion, but as its architects. To understand attraction is not simply to understand desire, it is to grasp a weapon that can bend the will of others. Knowledge itself becomes power, but when the knowledge concerns the secret mechanics of desire, that power grows formidable. For while most stumble blindly, bewitched by illusions of passion, the few who see the truth wield it with precision. They become rulers not only in courts and kingdoms, but in the very hearts of men and women. The truth, once understood, is not a burden. It is a sword. And those who hold it may cut through the illusions that enslave others. Consider the masses who speak of love in the language of poetry. They believe they are free in their choices, that their affections arise from purity, that they surrender willingly to destiny. How easily such souls can be bent by those who know better. The one who grasps the truth understands that attraction is not divine chance, but the manipulation of perception. If you can control how you are seen, you can control who desires you. If you can dictate who is desperate for your attention, you can dictate their loyalty, their sacrifices, even their betrayals. This is why the truth is so dangerous. It transforms mere affection into a tool of dominion. Those who wield this knowledge appear almost magical to others. Their ability to command attention without effort, to inspire longing with silence, to ignite jealousy with a glance. These are not gifts of fate, but skills refined by insight. They understand that desire is not random. It can be summoned, amplified, and directed. To them, attraction is not a mystery but a science, and those who remain ignorant become their unwitting subjects. History, is filled with examples of this weaponization. Kings have secured loyalty not through law, but through seduction. Queens have bent entire empires to their will not with armies, but with a lure carefully cultivated and strategically revealed. Courtesans have toppled nobles, generals have ensnared rulers, all because they grasp the truth passion can be forged, controlled, and used to enslave even the strongest of men. When power of this kind is in the hands of the cunning, no fortress is truly secure, no vow unbreakable, no throne unshakable. The power lies not only in attracting, but in knowing how to deny. Those who understand attraction know that withholding is as potent as giving. They distribute their affection as a monarch distributes favors, sparingly, deliberately, to amplify its value. The ignorant give their devotion freely, imagining that love multiplies through generosity. The wise know that devotion is multiplied by scarcity, that the less one gives, the more it is desired. This knowledge, when applied, enslaves the hearts of others. They will pursue endlessly, convinced they are chasing passion, when in truth they are chained by manipulation. And here lies the deepest cruelty. When one knows the truth, even sincerity can become a weapon. A well-timed confession, a sudden display of vulnerability, can ignite desire more fiercely than months of indifference. The one who understands the mechanics of attraction knows when to play the lover, when to play the stranger, when to play the savior, and when to play the enemy. Each role is assumed not from emotion, but from calculation. To those who do not know, this appears as passion. To those who do, it is revealed as mastery. The weaponization of truth is not limited to individuals, entire cultures and institutions use it. Consider how fashion, art, and ceremony amplify allure. Consider how status symbols are designed not for utility, but for signaling superiority and scarcity. Consider how rituals of courtship are structured not for equality, but for reinforcing dominance and submission. These systems are not accidents. They are societal manipulations built upon the very truths of attraction, wielded not by one individual, but by the collective to maintain power over the many. Even the smallest truths, once understood, can be sharpened into tools. The truth that mystery intensifies desire can be used to cultivate silence, to reveal less and thereby gain more. The truth that people desire what others desire can be used to manufacture competition, making one appear more valuable simply by appearing wanted. The truth that passion thrives on uncertainty can be used to destabilize the heart, leaving the victim desperate to restore balance. Each of these truths, invisible to the masses, is a blade in the hands of the strategist. But perhaps the most dangerous truth of all is that love, in its purest sense, is weak against the currents of attraction. People may claim loyalty, they may swear fidelity, but their desires can be redirected by those who understand how to manipulate them. The faithful can be tempted, the steadfast seduced, the indifferent ignited. To know this is to know that no bond is unbreakable, no promise immune. This knowledge, when exploited, becomes the ultimate weapon, for it allows one to destabilize rivals, corrupt allies, and claim what others believed untouchable. Imagine, then, the advantage of the one who carries this truth in their mind. While others stumble through affairs of the heart, guided by instinct, they operate with strategy. While others lament rejection, they craft allure. While others beg for affection, they dictate the terms of its exchange. The world marvels at their magnetism, unaware that what they admire is not magic, but mastery. They are not swept away by desire. They are its conductor, orchestrating every note, every silence, every crescendo. And yet, most will never grasp this truth. They will remain bound by illusions, believing in fairy tales of destiny, in myths of equality, in fantasies of love untouched by power. They will continue to confuse manipulation for passion, to worship beauty without seeing the strategies behind it, to call themselves victims of love when they are in fact victims of cunning. Only a few will strip away the veil and confront reality. And fewer still will have the courage to wield this truth, to turn it into the weapon it truly is.